জয়েন করেছে, পার্টিসিপেন্ট কতজন জয়েন করেছে?
1 2 3
স্যার
4 5
আমরা লাইভে আছি এখন। হ্যাঁ,
আচ্ছা।
Namaskar. The mark of higher education is not only the knowledge we accumulate in our head, it's the skills we gain about how to learn. Higher education is a cornerstone of any country's future. Higher education should provide an environment to test new ideas, debate theories, encounter challenging information, and figure out what one believes. Higher education should be based on quality, not quantity, receive merit-based funding, and be free from unnecessary bureaucracy. Not the least of the benefits of educational reform is to foster the pride of achievement at national and international levels. Today, the 15th of May 2022, an aspiring institute of higher education of Tripura, prestigiously known as Government Degree College Dharmanagar, have organized a one-day seminar on roles and responsibilities of higher educational institutions in effective implementation of National Education Policy 2020. Myself, Srimati Sanghita Chanda, Assistant Professor, Department of Education of Government Degree College, Dharmanagar, and also one among the coordinators, and also the anchor of today's seminar. It's an immense pleasure for us that this seminar have been organized by the joint effort of the faculties of science and the faculties of humanities of our college. Because the NEP, National Education Policy 2020, is the utmost need of the hour for the people like us and for the people, those who are into the process of higher education, teaching as well as learning. Government Degree College Dharmanagar provides to facilitate higher education to the students of the North Zone of Tripura State. Presently, we have a strength of more than 5,000 students pursuing undergraduate courses in the disciplines of arts, science, and commerce. As the theme of today's topic is roles and responsibilities of higher educational institutions in effective implementation of National Education Policy 2020. After a long gap of 34 years, the Government of India has replaced successfully the National Policy on Education 1986 by the National Education Policy of India 2020, which will hopefully bring a tremendous positive change in the entire educational structure of our country. The NEP focuses on 5 pillars: affordability, accessibility, quality, equity, and accountability to ensure conditional learning. To begin with today's event, most modestly, I request our Honorable Principal in Charge Sir, Sri Gautam Das, to preside over the inaugural session. I request Dr. Aurobindo Mahato Sir, Head of Department, Department of Rural Studies, Tripura University, to be our guest of honor for today's grand event. But presently, Sir is in flight. He is on board. So we will hear his enlightening words as soon as he joins us. I courteously appeal Dr. Anup Kumar De, Professor and Head of Department, Department of English, Assam University, Diffu Campus, to be the keynote speaker of our today's event. I request Dr. Rahul Bhattacharjee, Regional Director, IGNOU Regional Center, Shillong, Nehu Campus, Meghalaya, to be our valuable resource person today. I request Dr. Pranav Saikia, Associate Professor and Director in Charge, Department of Education, KK Hendik State Open University, Guwahati, Assam, to be our beneficial resource person today. I humbly request Dr. Ankan Sinha, Head of Department, Department of Physical Education, and the Teachers Council Secretary of our college to grace the inaugural session with his presence. Thank you all. Now, I request Dr. Raghunandan Das, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, and the organizing convener of today's seminar, to please come forward with his welcome address.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for enlightening the event. A very good morning to all. Hearty welcome to one and all to the online national seminar on rules and responsibilities of higher educational institution in effective implementation of National Education Policy 2020, being organized by Faculty of Science and Humanities, Government Degree College, Dharmanagar. Respected Principal and President of today's national seminar, Sri Gautam Das sir, respected guest of honor, Dr. Aurobindo Mahato, HOD, in charge, Department of Rural Studies, Tripura University, Agartala, respected Dr. Ankan Sinha, sir, Secretary Teachers Council of our college, respected Dr. Anup Kumar De, sir, Professor and Head, Department of English, Assam University, Defu Campus, respected invited speakers, Dr. Rahul Bhattacharjee, sir, Regional Director, IGNOU, Shillong, respected Pranav Saikia, sir, Director in charge, KK Hendik Open University, all the respected coordinators, respected members of organizing committee, faculty members from different institutions across the country, researchers, education lovers, students, officials, and all others. Dear participants, once again, on behalf of myself and on behalf of entire organizing committee, I welcome you all to the national seminar. Dear participants, according to Swami Vivekananda, education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. Also, he said, a man is not poor without a rupee, but a man is really poor without a dream and ambition. It is equally applicable in other domain also. We must have vision and mission for achieving our national goal. We achieve many things. Many things remains to be achieved. For making the young minds ignited and resourceful, proper education in the right direction to be provided. To provide proper direction and purposeful education for building the nation, time to time, national education policy has been coming into life since 1968. First national education policy come into operational from 1968 during Mrs. Indira Gandhi's government. Second national education policy from 1986 during Rajiv Gandhi government. In 1992, during Narasimha Rao government, the policy was modified. After 34 years, we are lucky enough to get new education policy 2020. Under the chairmanship of former ISRO chairperson Dr. K. Kasturirangan, the draft of NEP was submitted for recommendation, and finally the policy was accepted in 2020. In pen and paper, it is looking very good. In the new education policy, it is proposed to increase education expenditure in educational sector from 1.6% of GDP to 6% of GDP. Within 2035, target to increase gross enrollment ratio up to 50%. Thirdly, initiating holistic approach like academic, vocational courses, extension activities will be given equal importance along with the normal studies. Children will be encouraged on the field on which they have their own interest. Dear friends, due to lack of proper implementation of the different schemes, which are looking very good in the pen and paper, are not able to achieve the target and become less impactful. So we should be aware more and more about the National Education Policy to 2020. The success of the National Education Policy will depend on its effective implementation. This particular seminar definitely helps us to know more about National Education Policy, way of effective implementation, etc. The learned resource persons will enlighten us. We will be benefiting in many respects. We'll be coming to know how in better way we can implement the education policy, and all the stakeholders will be more aware by their impactful lecture. I welcome once again all and wishing a grand success of this event. Thanking you all. I am concluding my short speech. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for your overwhelming welcome speech. I think welcoming is an art. We should welcome, being a host, we should welcome all with warm hearts. And that is being done by the organizing committee, and the convener of organizing committee welcomed you all. Dr. Raghunandan Das was giving his welcoming address. Uh, I request Dr. Ankan Sinha, Head of the Department of Physical Education, and the Secretary of Teachers Council of our college to please come forward with his speech for today's show.
Very good morning to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Once again, very good morning to all of you. Respected President of this program and Principal in charge of Government Degree College, Dharmanagar, North Tripura, Sri Gautam Das, sir. All the guests, special guests, all the dignitaries present over here, the organizers, and their participants. So, as we all know that we are gathered here to witness or hear a wonderful program, and I would say the most burning a program on a topic of most burning issues of today's or recent days, that is NEP 2020. So first of all, I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to the entire team of organizing committee for providing me the opportunity to share my views over this. But at the same time, I'm not the appropriate person to share this as I am traveling too. So I will share two lines only with you all. So as far as NEP 2020 is concerned, for any development, for exploring anything, we need two things. That is, first one is vision, and the next one is action. So we had the visions through NEP 2020, but the main thing, how to implement it, how to bring it in action. So it's up to us, and I hope this kind of seminar or webinar can definitely give us or means help us to explore our mind to implement this policy. So national education policy or new national education policy 2020 has every good thing has its appreciations also as well as some drawbacks also. But how to utilize these merits practically in education field? Like if we talk about the role of higher education as far as this education policy is concerned, now we have to work all the higher educations of different states of this nation will work under the same umbrella, excluding the medical and legal education. And it is also possible with the help of four pillars of this umbrella. That may be the National Higher Education Regulatory Council for regulating, for forming the rules and regulations for conducting this. One more, that is National Accreditation Council for accreditation purpose. Then General Education Council (GEC) for standard setting, for maintaining the norms and making the standard. Higher Education Ground Grant Council for funding related to matter related to finance. So accordingly, we will work under same umbrella. This is and this uh, kind of means higher education has biggest role in the implementation of national education policies. There are numerous, what would I say, means numerous advantages, positive sides of this national education policy. Like it may set means narrow education institutions along with research universities. There are many other policies also in this education policy. If I'm talking about my subject, then it has special place for sports sciences, or we can say physical education. In recent one of the meeting, they have decided to make it a compulsory part of higher education institutions and even the universities. So as far as my subject is concerned, it has a special role as far as NEP is concerned. Likewise, various changes we have made. It will take time, but definitely it will help us to grow more, to uplift our academic standard. They're going to form that ABC, that is academic bank of credits, which you can earn from different higher education institutions. And finally, that will matter in your final degree. Not only that, you can leave your education, not leave means if you are completed one portion of your education, then you will get something unlike to previous one. अगर आप कुछ भी कंप्लीट करते हो एक दो साल तो एटलीस्ट यू विल गेट सर्टिफिकेट देन पीजी diploma at least, then after that you will get the degrees, and after completing the 4 years you will get degree with research experience. So these all are the new things which we should follow and appreciate at the same time. So I would like to congratulate the organizing team once again for conducting this kind of webinar for us, for the educationists, for the participants, and definitely it will help us to means reform or implement this national education policy. So thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Ankan Sinha was giving a thoughtful speech on the National Education Policy 2020 because The new education policy 2020 has given us many diversified areas and scopes for the students, especially to enhance with their higher education studies and to do many types of courses according to their desire, according to their want. And it has made, rather I should say, it has made education very flexible for the students and accessible also at the same time. Thank you, Dr. Ankan Sinha, for giving such a valuable speech on today's event, as because you are teacher secretary of our college. So we expect such an enlightened thought from you. Thank you, sir. Our guest of honor for today's program is Dr. Aurobindo Mahato, sir, Head of Department of Rural Studies, Tripura University. But with an interruption, I would like to apologize that presently sir is on board. He is in flight, so he is not available with us. He told us and he promised us that as he comes, he will join us and we will be able to hear him as soon as he joins us in this webinar. To carry forward with today's webinar, I would request the president of today's webinar, the principal in charge of our college, Sri Gautam Das sir, to please come forward with his presidential address.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good morning to all. Respected guest of honor, Dr. Aurobindo Mahato, HUD, Department of Rural Studies. He will join with us very soon. Secretary, Teachers Council, Government Degree College, Dharmanagar. Keynote speaker, Dr. Anup Kumar De, Professor and HOD of English Department, Assam University. We have with us as research persons Dr. Rahul Bhattacharjee, Regional Director, IGNO, Regional Center of Shillong, Meghalaya, Dr. Pranav Shaikia, Associate Professor and Director in charge of KK Hangdikki State Open University, Guwahati, Assam. All conveners and members of organizing committee, all participants, colleagues, and my dear students. Good wishes to all, and all are welcome on today's national seminar on rules and responsibilities of higher educational institutions in effective implementation of National Education Policy 2020, organized by the Faculty of Science and Humanities, Government Degree College, Dharmanagar, Tripura. We heard speeches from two of our organizing committee conveners and Secretary Teachers Council regarding the roadmap and duties for implementing NEP 2020, and also heard the history of different educational commission and committee of post-independent India. Thank you all for your kind words. It is a proper title of the seminar and it is the demand of time. Earlier, we have conducted a webinar on NEP 2020. That was, what is NEP 2020? And today, it is happening in another dimension, that is the role and responsibilities of higher educational institution. Some of our respected faculty members are performing their duties and responsibilities to frame the syllabus and other factors as syllabus committee member of Tripura University. NEP 2020 provide holistic and multidisciplinary education or liberal education has not yet been included in the list of degrees approved by UGC. We have attended many seminars, meetings, and workshops of NEP 2020 and hope NEP 2020 will be implemented very soon in higher education. One of the crucial responsibilities of the Department of Higher Education, as envisaged by NEP 2020, is the setting up a new framework for the regulation and maintenance of standard in higher education as per its constitutional mandate. The new framework envisages that distinct, independent, and empowered bodies will perform the separate rules of regulation, accreditation, funding, and standard setting. NEP 2020 stipulates the formation of these four structures within Higher Education Commission of India and umbrella institution. Many other legislations will also require modifications both at the center and at the state levels to achieve the flexibility provided by NEP 2020. Its recommendations of giving autonomy to all colleges and universities over time rest heavily on the ability of the accreditation framework to certify all higher educational institutions at least once every 5 years. Overall, 2021 saw higher educational institutions and all other stakeholders trying and understanding the spirit of the policy and making their own implementation plans in the policy's intended spirit. We are looking forward to many of the transformative changes that will be on the anvil in 2022. We will listen the valuable speech and presentation from our resource persons, keynote speakers about our role and responsibilities. On behalf of Government Degree College, I am very much thankful to all of our respected guest dignitaries as they accept our invitation and response. I wish a grand success of today's national seminar. Thank you once again. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for being the guardian of today's seminar conducted by the faculties of Science and Humanities of GDC Dharmanagar, of a prospiring institute of higher education in the north zone of Tripura. We all are witnessing today's seminar on roles and responsibilities of higher educational institutes in effective implementation of National Education Policy 2020. It is a demand of the time that a discussion should be on this policy because we are on to introduce the new system of education from the coming session. So we all must be clear and we all must be aware with what is going to happen in very near future, as because we are the people who are pursuing our profession in higher education as well as the students and those upcoming talents, those who want to join the profession of higher education, and also to the students, those who want to join the higher education and pursue their studies. It will be easy for them to know what will be the future concept and what will be the future venture according to the education policy of 2020. As we have come towards the end of the inaugural session of today's seminar on such a brilliant topic, I would like to request Dr. Mosam Bhattacharya, coordinator of today's seminar and head of Department of Human Physiology, Government Degree College, Dharmanagar, to please come forward with his vote of thanks for the first inaugural session. And right after his vote of thanks, we will we will request Dr. Anup Kumar De to come forward with his keynote address. But first, we will go for vote of thanks of the inaugural session by Dr. Mosam Bhattacharya, HOD, Department of Human Physiology, GDC Dharmanagar.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to give the vote of thanks for the inaugural session of this national seminar on roles and responsibilities of higher educational institutions in effective implementation of National Education Policy 2020. First of all, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express my deepest gratitude and heartfelt thanks to our principal sir, who is also the president of this national seminar. Sir, thank you very much for the easy and very effective deliberation which you made, and I'm sure it will help us in understanding all the participants and all the faculty members in implementation of this national education policy. Sir, once again, thank you because you have been the driving force for us in organizing many such events for the benefit and academic development of our college, which is Government Degree College, Dharmanagar. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express my sincere thanks to our Secretary, Teachers Council of Government Degree College, Dharmanagar, Dr. Ankun Sinha, who also very lucidly expressed his views on the National Education Policy 2020. Thank you, Ankun sir. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express my deepest gratitude and heartfelt thanks to Dr. Raghunandan Das, who is convener of this national seminar and who has taken all the pain in organizing this seminar on this very important topic in a very short time. So thank you, sir, for once again for organizing this very important event, which is also the need of the hour. I would like to express my sincere gratitude and heartfelt thanks to all the participants, to all the resource persons who will be joining in a very short period of time. And nonetheless, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and heartfelt thanks to Madam Dr. Sangeeta Chanda, who is very nicely anchoring the whole today's event. So thank you. Thanks to all, and I hope that this seminar will be a very good success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. As we all are a part of today's seminar, as this seminar is a great event for our college because we have organized it jointly with the help of all the faculties and all the disciplines of our college, science and humanities. There are various departments of science and various departments of humanities running successfully in our college, imparting higher education to the generation. As the National Education Policy 2020 focuses on 5 pillars, that is affordability, accessibility, quality, equity, and accountability. And that will hopefully make the higher education more advanced, more flexible, and more standardized for a country like India, where education is a demand now because we are developing, we are progressing. So being a developing country, education plays a most vital role. Thank you, Dr. Mosam Bhattacharya, once again for your vote of thanks. As we have successfully completed the inaugural session, and we will just shift over to our second session. So to begin with the second session, I most respectfully request Dr. Anup Kumar De, Professor and Head of Department, Department of English, Assam University, Difu Campus, Assam, to enlighten us with his keynote address.
Respected Principal Sir, Dr. Gautam Das, respected Secretary of the Teachers Council, Government Degree College, Dharmanagar, my younger brother and friends, Mosam Bhattacharya, Raghunandan Das, and Sangeeta. It is a kind of nostalgic feeling for me to join any program that is organized by Government Degree College Dharmanagar, because I was part of this college for more than 6 years, almost 6.5 years, from 2004 to 2010. So it's always a nostalgic feeling for me. And when Raghu proposed that we are going to organize this webinar on a very pertinent issue of uh, the implementation of National Education Policy 2020, and he requested me to be part of this particular webinar, so I instantly agreed. And it's always a pleasure. I have already said that it's always a pleasure to be part of any initiative of Government Degree College Dharmanagar. Now, as we have already heard some of the valuable speeches from uh, Sangeeta, then Mr. Ankan Sinha, then Mausam Bhattacharya, Raghunandan Das. So we have come to know that the implementation of national education policy is a very crucial one. And why I am saying this? Because Dr. Raghunandan Das has already mentioned about some of the important policies that were there for a considerable period of time in India after the uh, independence. So he mentioned about the Kothari Commission of 1968, then National Education Policy of 1986, which was subsequently amended in 1992. Now, in all the policy, even if we go back to Mudaliar Commission, actually Mudaliar Commission made certain important recommendations regarding secondary education. And also in the pre-independence era, if we go back to the University Commission headed by Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, and if we go through the all the policy documents, you will find that the policies were very good. Whatever whatever the things which are presented in National Education Policy 2020, almost all the aspects were covered in some way or other in all the other previous policies. But the question is that uh, uh, having a good policy is not enough. The most important part is the implementation of all these good policies, all these good suggestions. Now, here lies the difficulty, because we have, if we analyze the Kothari Commission recommendations, you will find that uh, it talked about India-centric education. It talked about equity. It talked about quality education. It talked about accessibility. It talked almost every aspects of higher education, as well as other, not only higher education, but elementary and secondary education also. But then we could not succeed as we have anticipated uh, in the policies. So that is the problem. That is a very you can say very important hurdle, very serious hurdle in the implementing stage or stages of these policies. Now, uh, coming back to National Education Policy 2020. Now, uh, this is a policy which has come after long 3 decades, long 3 decades, and by the time we have you can say we have achieved so many things in the field of education. We should not be very skeptic regarding our achievements. We have our gross enrollment ratio at the elementary education is more than 95% right now. Our gross enrollment ratio in secondary education is nearly 60%, and our gross enrollment ratio in higher education is nearly 24-25%. So it's a very good achievement, considering uh, considering the number of people uh, that that are targeted to enter into education sector. So it's a huge number. It's more than 100, more than 130 crores. So with a population of more than 130 crores, it's nearly 140 crores population. it's a huge achievement. It's a huge achievement, and the credit should be given to all the successive governments, all the previous governments, and also the different agencies, different departments who are working in this field, that is in the field of education. But saying that, we have to uh, also be self-critical, because we know that our gross enrollment ratio in the elementary education is more than 95% or nearly 95%. But when we come to the secondary education, it's a sharp drop of more than 35%. Means 35% students who were enrolled at the elementary stage, they somehow discontinue. They somehow discontinued when they are expected to go to the secondary level. And again, there is a further decline of more than 50% when uh, it comes to the higher education. So it's not a very encouraging scenario, considering the 21st century goal that we have targeted to achieve. So we have set some important goals considering all these things. So at this particular stage, the institutions of education, and particularly I'll focus on higher education today in my today's lecture. The institutions of higher education should formulate their goals, and not only the goals, but also the methods that they are, or the plans that they will prepare for the effective implementation of the NEP 2020. And this is very important, and that's why in NEP 2020 there is a mentioning of institutional development plan. An institutional development plan has to be prepared for the short term, for the medium term, and for the long term. So we have to focus on this particular area also. So let me share my screen. uh, my today's lecture would be on National Education Policy 2020, implementation and institutional preparedness. I'll focus on this particular issue. I think my slides are visible. Sangeeta, can you
Yeah,
confirm?
yeah, 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 sir. I can see it's visible.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much. Now, when we talk of the goals of national education policy, uh, we all know that we had the Sustainable Development Goals of 2015, and we are part of this Sustainable Development Goals 2015. And there it is, the focus was on inclusive and equitable quality education. Now, I was mentioning about the other education policies or previous education policies, and I talked about Mudaliar Commission, then National Education Policy 1986, then also Kothari Commission. Now, the quality education was given a kind of, you can say, it was mentioned. It was mentioned in all these policies, but the focus was more on accessibility and equity. We have to be very clear about that. The focus of the previous education policies were more on accessibility and equity, and that was also very pertinent, very important, because access and equity was very important at that particular stage of time. So that's why the focus was on access and equity. Now, in this particular policy, that is National Education Policy 2020, the focus was more on quality, more on quality. Although equity and accessibility were not ignored, but focus is more on quality education, so that we can achieve our uh, lifelong learning opportunities. We can achieve the learning opportunities by 2030. That was the target. And that this particular policy was aimed to address the growing development imperatives of our country. We know that we are in the 21st century, and we are on the in the we have almost on the verge of completing the first quarter of the 21st century. So the 21st century youths, they have separate set of aspirations, separate set of goals, and the policy should be framed, formulated in such a manner so that it can address those developmental, those you can say aspirational goals of the 21st century youth. So keeping in mind that the the policy the policy proposed to revise and revamp all aspects of the education structure, including its regulation and governance, so that a new system can be developed which can be aligned with the aspirational goals of the 21st century education. Because when we talk of the status of higher education in India, we found that we don't find our institutions to feature in first 200 uh, uh, institutions across the globe. The top 200 institutions we could not feature, our institutions could not feature. So that is a very pathetic scenario. So our policy should aim at that one also. Now, the special emphasis was on the development of the creative potential of each individual that is there. And then uh, it also, keeping in mind that one, it also talks about not only the cognitive development of the students, cognitive development of the youths, but also make them more social, so that they can be socially, ethically, and emotionally attached to the society. They should be empathic to the social concerns, social issues. So there should not be any you can say one point development, that is the cognitive development. Now, when it comes to the regulations of the higher education, now what is the present scenario? Now, the most important thing is that it is too heavy-handed for decades. We have so many regulatory bodies. We have University Grants Commission. We have so many other, we have AICT. We have so many for engineering colleges, engineering institutions. There is separate regulatory bodies. For teachers' education, there is separate regulatory bodies. So many separate regulatory bodies, but then there is no combination, there is no coordination. And in the process, what happened, it was a kind of too much was achieved, was you can say attempted, but then it could not bring proper result on the ground. Now, and it is also a kind of mechanistic and disempowering nature. How? Because we all know the University Grants Commission, UGC, the name suggests that it would work on the field of area of grants only. But then we find that UGC is everywhere in all the domains of higher education, starting from setting the minimum educational qualification required for appointment to the promotion, and then how the institutions will progress. So in all the aspects, and also the pay scale and structure, all these things are decided by the UGC. So also is the case with AICT. So in the process, what happens that these are disempowering in nature, and there is also a collision that UGC suggests something, and then the finance ministry, the Ministry of Education, it disapproves that thing. Now, this kind of you can say lack of coordination, it has created so many problems in the institutions of higher education, and those who are associated with the administration of institutions of higher education, they all know that how difficult it is to negotiate with all these regulatory bodies, as well as with different government departments and agencies. And if the institution is a multidisciplinary one, that is having having teachers education, having you can say technical education, and also general education, then it is almost next to impossible to negotiate all the different regulatory bodies, and at the same time with government agencies and government departments. So uh, it is required that now there should be a complete revision of the regulatory system, so that the higher education can be re-energized, can thrive for the for a colossal development in the field of higher education. Now, what are the proposed changes in NEP 2020? Now, the first proposal is that the regulatory system of higher education will ensure that distinct functions of regulation, accreditation, founding, and academic standard setting will be performed by distinct, independent, and empowered bodies. Now, I was mentioning of UGC. UGC, its name suggests that it will act on the or perform only in the domain of granting financial assistance. But then this name is a very deceiving one, because it talks on all the aspects of higher education, and also it is not the final agency which decides on each and every aspect, so the the propose the proposal is that there should be distinct bodies, separate bodies, and there are four, you can say, verticals. When it comes to higher education, there are four separate you can say functions. Number one is regulation. Regulation is important. Then accreditation is very important. Then funding is very important, and also academic standard setting. So all these cannot be performed by one single authority, one single agency. So that should be separated, and that these should be properly empowered, and uh, and this is considered essential to create check and balance in the system, because now we find that there is no check and balance, and there is also the conflict of interest. Now recently I was going through the minutes of a committee. I was part of that particular committee, that that a teacher who would be appointed in the engineering department of a university. Now, what should be the guideline for the appointment? Whether the UGC guideline would be followed, or the guideline set up by the AICT. So, what should be the proper guideline? What should be the guideline to be followed by that university? So, there is a conflict of interest also, and in the process, what we find that uh, the powers were concentrated, but then again we found that in exercising the powers also, there comes the conflict. So that's why in the National Education Policy 2020, it is proposed that there should be four institutional structure, and they will distinctly function on four essential functions, and that would be the, you can say, their task, their power should be totally separated, designated, and there should not be any conflict. But at the same time, there should be a kind of coordination, so that they can work for a common goal, to achieve a common goal, that is the development of higher education. And these four verticals, these four independent verticals, they would work under one single umbrella institution, that is Higher Education Commission of India. Now, that is proposed, and maybe within a year or two, this Higher Education Commission of India will come up. Already in some states, they have already implemented that one. They have established Higher Education Commission in their respective states. So in case of India also, will very soon will get the Higher Education Commission of India, and under its umbrella, within its umbrella, four different verticals will operate, and they will perform distinct functions. Now, first important vertical is National Higher Education Regulatory Council, and this is the most important vertical, most means important agency, because it will work on regulation, and the name itself suggests that it will work on regulation, and it will function as the common single point regulator of higher education sector, including teacher education. Now it will means frame regulation not only for the general education but also technical teacher education, engineering education, and in all aspects of education it will be the single regulatory authority, including legal education. Now the approach would be light but tight. The approach would be light but tight, and it would work as a facilitator, facilitator, not as an agency who is supposed to dictate everything. Rather, it will give autonomy to the institutions of higher education, and it will only facilitate in their functioning, and the approach would be light by tight. Now, what is light by tight? Light means there would be some kind of autonomy to all the institutions of higher education in terms of finance, in terms of framing their curriculum and syllabus, in recruitment and all other aspects. But the tight in the sense that there should be the proper transparency in matters of financial probity, and there should be proper transparency, there should be accountability. That autonomy doesn't mean that an education institution enjoying an autonomy doesn't mean that it will work in an arbitrary manner. So the tight following of these regulations should also be there, but with an element of autonomy. So the transparency and all these things should be there, and that should be publicly displayed. They should be displayed in public platform so that anyone can access to the accounts of this education institution from their website itself. So that amounts to the financial probity. Now, as I have already said, that it should be there in the website of the institution, and it would be monitored by National Higher Education Regulatory Council. Time to time monitoring would also be there, but this website would be maintained by independently by the institutions of higher education. Now it also ensures that there should be the grievance, the option to registering grievance by the stakeholders. And these grievance, there should be a mechanism to address the grievances. It's not that only the stakeholder can register the grievance, but there won't be any follow-up action. So there should be the mechanism to register the grievance, and at the same time there should be the mechanism to address the grievance, and it should be publicly available, and at the same time there should be the system of feedback, getting the feedback, how the things are functioning. So this should be the proper feedback system. So that is the first you can say uh, vertical under National Education Commission. Now second one is National Accreditation Council. Nowadays we have National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAAC, and the headquarter is Bangalore, is in Bangalore or Bengaluru. Now we all know that NAAC adopts so much initiatives, and it has its own mechanism to assess the standard of any institution of higher education and also award certain kind of grades. A double plus, A plus, A in this manner. And then it also gives a kind of brand to the institution, and also it helps in generating resources. Now, right now, the process is that the institutions of higher education will directly approach the NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, and National Assessment and Accreditation Council, on its behalf, it assess the performance of the higher education institutions and award the degree, grade. Now it would be changed. Now the primary mechanism to enable such regulation will be accreditation. Okay. Now, uh, how it, how what changes are proposed? Now, the accreditation of institution will be based primarily on basic norms, public self-disclosure, good governance, and outcome. It will be carried out by an independent ecosystem of accrediting institutions, supervised and overseen by National Accreditation Council. Now, the change is proposed that now the National Accreditation Council won't go on its own to assess the performance of the institutions of higher education and award the grade. Rather, there would be some registered accrediting institutions, registered with NAC, and they will assess and accreditate. And it would be overseen by National Accreditation Council. So a kind of, you can say, professionalism, a kind of, you can say, transparency is aimed for the accreditation of institutions of higher education. Now, that task to function as a recognized accreditor shall awarded to an appropriate number of institutions by NAC. Now, to be an accrediting institute, one has to apply for that this particular agency is fit to accreditate the institutions of higher education. So there are certain laid down rules, whether this agency, whether that agency has satisfied those functions, satisfied that basic requirements would be judged by the National Accreditation Council, and if this particular agency is found to be suitable, appropriate, only then that agency would be given that, you can say, authority to assess and accreditate the institutions of higher education. Now, the aim is to build a robust system of graded accreditation, because now the challenge to National Accreditation Assessment and Accreditation Council is that their infrastructure, their structure is not enough to assess huge number of colleges and universities across the country. They are not, you can say, and that's why many institutions, they have applied for the accreditation and assessment, and their, you can say, applications are pending for long months, for so many months and even years. So in order to bring professionalism and to make the assessment process more, you can say, robust, this mechanism is proposed. And these higher education institutions would be assessed through their institutional development plans. I have already mentioned about that each institution has to prepare its own development plans based on short time period, medium term, and long term. That in next 5 years, the institution aims to achieve these goals. In next 10 years, these are the things that the institution wants to achieve. And in next 20 years, these are the, or 15 years, these are the goals that the institution wants to achieve. So in that way, in that manner, the institutional development plans are to be prepared by each institution. And then the assessment would be based on these IDPs, that is institutional development plans, and to what extent these are implemented. Now, for a college like Dharmanagar Government College, it is required at this moment is to prepare the development, institutional development plans, and to work and start working on that for the effective implementation of these goals that we have targeted these goals to achieve in the field of infrastructure development, in the field of curriculum development, in the field of innovation, in the field of teaching learning uh, process. So in all the aspects, the institution should develop its own plan, prepared its own plan, and the assessment should be done based on these plans and the amount of implementation that was done on these plans. So the institutions are self-governing, will be self-governing. Government Degree College Dharmanagar would be an autonomous institution in recent future. It would be an autonomous institution, degree awarding institution, but whether it will satisfy to that particular standard would be assessed by this National Accreditation Council. Now, the next vertical is Higher Education Grants Council. Now, so long we all know that a general an institution of general education has to approach to UGC for grants, and there is no other agency available to us for approaching grants. Now, as UGC is also assigned with some other rules, so sometimes it happens that this primary function is neglected, and the institutions have to suffer for that. So keeping in mind that one, the third vertical would be created as Higher Education Grants Council, and it will carry out funding and financing of higher education based on transparent criteria. It will prepare the transparent criteria, and then the institutions of higher education should apply based on these criteria, and they are based on their IDPs also, institutional development plans, and to what extent they have implemented. So transparency would be there, that is the utilization, to what extent these are utilized, and the manners in which these are utilized. All these things should be assessed, and this Higher Education Grants Council will also be will also look after the scholarship matter. Right now, this is something a very you can say very conflicting kind of situation, that students or the research scholars, they apply for scholarship. Now some scholarships are given by UGC, uh, some and then some scholarships are given by the state government, some are by different agencies of the central government, tribal scholarships, then minority scholarships, then merit scholarships, and there are different other types of scholarships. Now sometimes there is the conflict, the confusion, and sometimes it also happens that one particular student has availed more than one type of scholarship, which should not be permitted, and another student, he or she is deprived of any scholarship. So this kind of conflict and confusions are there. So this would be brought under one single authority, one single agency, and that is Higher Education Grants Council. It will look after this scholarship issue also. The fourth vertical is the most important one, that is General Education Council, which will take care of all the general education, and it will frame expected learning outcomes from higher education programs. Now, when we are asked to prepare our course and syllabus, it is mandatory to mention the outcome, the expected outcome of that particular course that we are preparing. You are preparing a particular course, maybe on English drama. Now, what is the expected outcome, that after studying this particular course, what the learners will achieve, the student will achieve. So the expected outcome should be mentioned in the course curriculum, and then the assessment should be there to what extent these expected outcomes are fulfilled. Now, in that way, the performance of the institutions of higher education as well as individual teachers will also be assessed, including the students. So, in keeping in mind a national higher education qualification framework, it will be formulated, and now it is already given. It is already formulated. It is already in the public domain. National higher education qualification framework, and it should be in sync with the national skill qualifications framework. Now, till today, we have a kind of confusion that what should be the status of vocational education or skill development, that if a particular student, he or she is studying a particular course, what skill he or she will develop. Now, 2 years back, there was one important news that in one particular state, for maybe 300 posts of peons, more than 10,000 applications were there, and among these 10,000, there were more than 300 PhD candidates. Now, PhD candidates are applying for the post of a peon. Now, what does it mean? That means two things. One is either they are not getting proper employment, but the second one is more important. Then, even if he or she has gained a PhD degree, but he or she hasn't developed a particular skill to earn his livelihood, earn his or her livelihood as per his qualification. That means the course that or the program that he has or she has pursued, that hasn't enabled him any kind of skill. So, and the problem lies with the conflict, or you can say having lack of a kind of coordination among these two types of frameworks, that is higher education qualification framework and the skill qualification framework. So now both the frameworks would work in sync with each other, so that vocational and skill development should be an important component of the general education also. Now we are asked to prepare the syllabus keeping in mind the skill development of the students. Even if we are preparing the syllabus, graduate syllabus or honors syllabus of English department, we have to keep in mind the skill development. That after getting an honors degree in English, honors graduation degree in English, what skill he or she has developed, and how he or she will utilize the skill in his or her professional life. That is the most important focal points. And it should be based on learning outcome. I have already told you, and the question of credit transfer, equivalence, all these things are also coming up. The ABC, that is academic bank of credit, that a particular student, if a particular learner, he has acquired a credit in one particular institution, how this credit would be transferred if he or she join another institutions, so that the credit he or she has earned in a particular institution should not be wasted. So this particular thing is also kept in mind while formulating this General Education Council. So this academic bank of credit is an important step towards this particular direction, and also it will give a kind of impetus to those students who discontinued, who are dropouts for certain reasons, but they cannot restart from where they have left. Now it will give a kind of benefit, facilitate them to start from where they have left. So academic bank of credit will help in this direction. And this GEC will also mandate to identify specific skill that a particular student must acquire during their academic programs. That in graduation honors program honors in English or history or botany, yes, a student is expected to develop this particular skill, specific skill. So it should be the focal point. Then we have professional standard setting bodies also. For example, Veterinary Council of India, Indian Council for Agricultural Research, the National Council of Teacher Education, Council of Architecture, National Council of Vocational Education and Training. All these things will are professional setting, you can say standard setting bodies, and they will work together. They will work together. And they would also be mandated by the General Education Council. So they are brought under the umbrella of General Education Council. And that's why the National Education Policy 2020 also proposed uh, uh, establishing the multidisciplinary institutions of higher education. It is disapproving the stand-alone institutions, that an institution should be imparting only agriculture engineering or only teachers education. So these kind of things are discouraged, and now the more you can say emphasis was on is on establishing multidisciplinary institutions, and they will also expected to prepare their own framework, and they will also work in sync with General Education Council. Now, what are the benefits of this restructuring? Because many things are proposed, many good things are proposed, but what goods actually it will ensure? Now, it will the most important benefit that it will it will bring the principle of separation of power, removing the elements of conflict. We all know that that this clear-cut guidelines for the separation of power should be there in administration also. We all know that legislature, judiciary, executive, they are guided by separation of power, and so long these principles of separation of power is maintained, the conflict is avoided. But when there is the overactivism on the part of one particular agencies, either executive or legislature or judiciary also, this question of judicial proactivism has also become a very important point of discussion for a few years. So this will actually bring conflict. So in order to eliminate this conflict, this separation of power among all these you can say verticals should be there, and it will also aim to empower the higher education institutions, because now the higher education institutions will know that for what they have to approach whom. Earlier they are in conflict, but they are in confusion that for a particular aspect should they approach AICT or to UGC or other regulatory bodies. Now, because of having this separation of clear-cut separation of power, it will benefit the higher education institutions also, so that they can give uh, focus on their functioning, and it will also bring responsibility and accountability, and uh, it will also eliminate the distinction between the private and the public universities, not only universities but institutions of higher education. Now, so much differences are there in case of private institutions of higher education. They're kind of we find that their regulations are not so strict or the otherwise. So these things are there. So now this distinction would be removed, and these uh, these all these verticals, they will uh, give more importance to the removing or to the reduction of human interference, human interface. That is, that would be a robust system would be developed so that human intervention or human interface is not required, or less requirement of human interface. So automatically we will bring transparency and efficiency also. And this having a faceless, transparent regulatory intervention will give a kind of new direction to the institutions of higher education also. And any kind of deviation from these set rules and regulations can also invite stringent action and penalties. So it will dissuade the institutions of higher education from practicing improper manners, because we all know that UGC has to every year, almost every year, or after a gap of 2 3 years, they have to amend the list of fake universities, that these universities are fake, these institutions are not proper, they award the degrees that are awarded by these institutions are not proper, not to be recognized. So this kind of things would be removed, penalties would be imposed, stringent actions would be taken, and that will ensure the basic, you can say, qualification, basic quality of institutions of higher education. And it will resolve this. Higher Education Council of India will resolve if there is any conflict among all these four verticals, because they have the umbrella institution, that is Higher Education Council of India. It will work as an independent body consisting of persons of having high expertise in the relevant areas, along with their integrity, commitment, and a demonstrated track record of public service. So, Higher Education Council of India would be constituted with expert people, experienced people, and those who have integrity and commitment, and they will see the functioning of all the four verticals. And uh, this Higher Education Council of India will be a very small and independent body, and they will just oversee and monitor, but these verticals will function independently. uh, Now, financial assistance is also very important for the long term stability of these institutions. So it will frame the regulations accordingly, so that the central and the state government can expand its institutions, because we all know the education is in concurrent list. So both the central and the state government can get the benefits of that revamping or revisioning of the structure, restructuring of the regulatory bodies, and other bodies can get the benefit of these things. And it will also invite the philanthropic partnership. The There are so many philanthropic institutions in India and in abroad also. So they are ready to come up with their own institutions of higher education. So it will also invite their partnership. So for today, these are the things, these are the issues that I wanted to share with you. So thank you for your patient uh, hearing, listening. And if you have any question, you are free to ask. Thank you so much. Sangeeta, am I audible? Sangeeta, Dr. Sangeeta Chanda. Am I audible?
Am I audible?
Yes, Sangeeta, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you would be a very small word to appreciate you, sir, but truly appreciation from a huge family of Government Degree College, Dharmanagar, to you for sparing your time with us on a holiday of Sunday and sharing your thoughts and ideas. We have come to know the aspects of new education policy that has been launched by the Government of India after a gap of 34 years. The last policy was in the year 1986, and the revision and the revised policy was in the year 1992. But a reframe, a restructure, a drastic structure of change in the structure of education has come through this policy of 2020. So I would like to appreciate your valuable contribution and hats off to you, sir, for accepting our request. Whenever we request you, you are always there for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sangeeta. And there is one question I like to respond to that question. One
Yes,
participant
sir. Yes.
he has asked that
Yeah, I would like to
what.
say rather that questions are open to the
Yes,
participants.
yes, yes,
If
yes,
they have any queries, they are open to inquire. They are open with the queries to Dr. Anup Kumar De, Professor, Head of Department of English, Assam University, Difu campus.
yes. Thank you, Sangeeta. So there is one question that what are the challenges faced by the Ministry of Education in implementing National Education Policy 2020?
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that there are so many challenges, because it's a policy which aims at revamping and restructure every possible aspects of higher education. So the challenge starts with the uh, of the formulation of the national education framework, and then it has to also constitute the higher education commission of India also. So from there the challenge actually starts, and then the different verticals has to be established, and then uh, the UGC or AICT, whatever the regulatory bodies are now there, how they would be accommodated in these verticals, that has to be also sorted out. So many challenges are there. Ministry of Education has to face all these challenges, and they have already set their goals. Means by 2024 certain goals have to be achieved, by 2025, by 2030, 35. In that way certain goals are to be achieved, in that way it is set. So challenges are there, but I'm more concerned about the challenges faced by the institution of higher education. Now we have to focus on that, because somehow or other the ministry will take up will live up to its challenges. We know that, but the thing is that the more challenge is on us, how to revamp our structure, our system, because as I have already told you that government degree college Dharmanagar and such kind of institutions will become autonomous in two within 2 3 years, or even 5 years, or there would be some institutions will form a kind of cluster, and there won't be any affiliating university. So all these challenges are there for the institutions of higher education, and keeping in mind the develop, and we have to prepare the institution development plans also, keeping in mind the short term, medium term, and long term. So you have to prepare. This is the most important step we have to follow. So our challenges are more, and the ministry will take care of its own challenges, but our challenges are more, and we have to focus on these areas as soon as possible. Thank you. What are the initiatives taken by the can yes what are the immediate challenges for implementation of NEP 20 for the country? As I have already told you, because my focus is on higher education, so I'm saying the most important challenge is to prepare the IDPs, that is institutional development plans. Because when you will prepare the institutional development plan, you have to keep in mind all these aspects. And remember, your accreditation will be based on the feedback of your stakeholders, number one. Number two, the amount of things that you have implemented, that you have mentioned in your institutional development plans. To what extent your institutional development plans are implemented, what are the outcomes that you have set, and to what extent these outcomes are there. So based on that, your accreditation will depend, and your finance will also depend on that. So this is the most immediate challenge for the institutions of higher education, that they have to prepare their institutional development plans. Is there any more question?
Sir, I think there was a question from one of our participants asking you about the advantages of the new education policy of 2020.
Yeah, that I have already pointed out. There are actually advantages are more. We have challenges, but if the challenges can be uh, taken up very judiciously and effectively, then we have so many advantages. Because now what happens? Now we were more focusing on accessibility and equitability of higher education. Now we'll talk about quality of higher education. Now we can expect to give quality education to the students who are coming from the marginalized section of the society, marginalized part of the society. They can be given quality education if these things are implemented. This is number one advantage. Second advantage is that when there would be uh, the proper implementation of academic bank of credit, then we expect that the dropouts would be would come back to the education, to the field of education once again. Someone who has discontinued for maybe 2-3 years back or 4 years back because of certain reasons, they will come back to the institution, because now whatever credit they have earned, that would be protected. So this will obviously bring a sea change in the field of education, higher education, and we can immediately see a kind of uh, high escalation in gross enrollment ratio. But at the same time, we'll also focus on the quality education. Number one, number two, number three is that now when we're talking of academic framework, national, because this academic framework could be national framework, it would become a national framework. Now we will find that the students who are there studying in any metropolitan city, that the same curriculum can be imparted in an institution of higher education from northeast India, remote part of India. So it won't give a kind of added advantage to a certain sections of societies, or the students coming from a certain section of the country. Rather, it will be equally distributed among all the sections, all the regions of the society. So these are very, you can say, broad advantages. But then it will these advantages can be felt only when we'll implement it properly, vigorously, and the most important task of implementation is on the teachers. The honors of the successful implementation of this policy is on the teachers. The teachers have to take an additional responsibility, and for that reason teachers have to focus on their job only. And that's why the national education policy 2020 has also given some kind of direction to the governments, that you cannot engage teachers in non-academic activities. And this is a very important aspect, because we all know that how the teachers are pulled in all sorts of non-academic activities also. In the process, the academics suffer. So in pool, at the time of election, at the time of enumeration, at the time of all sorts of activities, we found that teachers are engaged. Now a clear cut direction is there for the governments, that you develop your alternative mechanism, but please don't engage the teachers in this sort of non academic activities, because their task is more important. They are in the process of nation building. So you cannot disrupt their activities by engaging them in other non-academic activities. Yes, introduction of moral studies. Now, this is an important aspect. We all know that this particular policy is somewhat different from other policies because it gave more importance to the Indian culture, that the education should be, or education or the curriculum should be, or even the research should be based on India. Now we all know that particularly in social science research and humanities, we found that I'm not talking about in the field of science and technology because that cannot be region specific. Even though the research can be region specific, but its benefits are means equally distributed in all sections of the society across the globe. But if we look at the research in the social science and humanities, we found, and in literature, humanities also includes literature, we found that India-centric research are very less. Someone is working on a particular tribe in Africa. Now, what benefit the society, his society or her society will get from her research? So that is the question. So India-centric research is given importance. So it's a kind of you can say looking within that the research, and that's why National Research Foundation, the formation of National Research Foundation is proposed, which will oversee the research activities. That the research should directly benefit the society, and there should be a, when we prepare a research proposal, uh, we prepare, we make the statement of the problem, objectives of the research, then methodology, organization of chapters, review of literature. Now along that, with that, another important aspect is that in what way your research will benefit your society. It will give benefit, then it will help in national interest, as well as in what way it will benefit your society. So definitely it is focusing more on the immediate society. And also it talked about, because this moral studies, it was also mentioned in Kothari Commission in a big way. uh, Madam Sangita is more aware than me that in Kothari Commission there are so many aspects which are pointed out regarding value education. So many aspects that the value-based education should be imparted, but it was not done. It was not done. So this policy has reiterated its that particular aspect also, that uh, the moral values should be given importance, that a particular research is done, but it doesn't benefit the researcher and the society morally, ethically, so it doesn't have any value. So in that way also this policy is working in that direction. Thank you.
Any more genuine questions from the participants? If not, then I would just like to say that the present system or the present policy of education has enhanced on Indianization of education and also on skill development along with academic development, because it is being seen that after becoming honors graduate or after taking postgraduate degree, people are unable to get jobs. So if a skill is developed in a human being, it is better that the skill is showed in variety other fields, because we as human beings, we are born with potentialities, and that's what education says, that we all are born with potentialities, and our potentialities can come out through the medium of skills. I think that will be all from the participants side asking questions to Dr. Anup Kumar Dev. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, really, from the bottom of our hearts, of the here,
Most
from the
welcome.
huge yeah, from the huge family of DDC Dharmanagar. To say a few more adjectives on Dr. Anup Kumar De, I'd like to say that Professor Anup Kumar De did his PG in English and MPhil from Assam University, Silchar. He has done his PhD on the plays of Arthur Miller from the same university. He is presently the head of Department of English, Assam University, Difu campus. His research papers are published in many well-reputed international journals and edited books. He has 2 books to his credit, along with 5 edited and co-edited books. He has completed one minor research project under UGC on the poetry of Margaret Atwood. He has also completed another research project on Zimi Naga ethnic community of Northeast India with National Security Council, Government of India. He is associated with the Central Institute of Indian Languages, Mysore, as a nominee of the Minister of Education, Government of India, and Chancellor's nominee in the Court of Bodoland University, Kokrajhar, Assam. His areas of interest include drama studies, post-colonial studies, contemporary Black British literature, Indian writings in English, and Northeast Indian literature. He worked in Government Degree College, Dharmanagar as well for 6 years as an assistant professor in the Department of English. And because of that, maybe the nostalgic feelings and your heart cries for GTC Dharmanagar. So you respond to our call always. Even I remember I gave you a call during the year 2020 when the Department of Education of Government Degree College Dharmanagar conducted a seminar on the National Education Policy 2020. Perhaps that was the first time we conducted a seminar on that particular topic, and this is the second time that we are enlightening more and more into this topic. And this time, heartfelt thanks goes to Dr. Raghunandan Das for organizing such a beautiful seminar with all the faculties and the disciplines of the college. Sir, I would like to add further that Dr. Anup Kumar Das has spoke on all the aspects of the new policy of education 2020, discussing about its enrollment procedure, discussing about the skill development projects, discussing about the culture that is included in education. I would like to say that India got independence in the year 1947, and after that, Radhakrishnan Commission was framed in the year 1948. But that commission was on higher education. And then Mudaliar Commission came in the year 1952. That was on secondary education. Actually, by the coming of Kothari Commission, the Education Commission came into Free India after 1947 because Kothari Commission spoke on all the aspects of education, right from the pre-primary aspect of education to the research level. So, Kothari Commission can be regarded as the first commission of India because it covered all the aspects. I don't know if I'm wrong, sir, please correct me. When we teach in the class, also we teach to the students that 1948 Commission was on higher education, and the government decided first about higher education, whereas the foundation lies in the primary level, in the pre-primary level. If the foundation is not weak, nothing can lie upon that. So I would just like to say that if education is considered as the backbone of civilization, then higher education is the leading step of development. The standard of education shows the development of a country, cause an educated country will automatically develop as there will be no brain drain and henceforth leading to the advancement of the country and its people. Thank you, Dr. Anup Kumar De, for being with us for this period of time. Thank you so much. Namaskar. We'll see you sometime later. Thank you, sir. Now we start with our technical session. We have 2 eminent speakers with us. Rather, I would say that we have 2 eminent resource persons with us. I would just list out their names. Dr. Rahul Bhattacharjee, Regional Director, Eco Regional Center, Shillong, Nehu Campus, Meghalaya. He is our valuable resource person. We have our second resource person, Dr. Pranav Soikia, Associate Professor and Director in Charge, Department of Education, KK Handik, State Open University, Guwahati, Assam. And I like to invite Dr. Haripada Datta sir, Coordinator IQSC and Associate Professor, Department of Commerce of Government Degree College Dharmanagar, to be the chairperson of the technical session and take over the charge of conducting the technical session. Dr. Haripada Datta sir, it's over to you now.
Madam, I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Good afternoon to
Good
everybody. Actually, it is our technical sessions. We have with us two resource persons. The first one is Dr. Rahul Bhattacharjee, and second one is Dr. Panav Soikia. Dr. Rahul Bhattacharjee currently working as Regional Director, Indira Gandhi Open University, Regional Center, Shillong, Meghalaya. His research interest is in theoretical condensed matter physics. He published more than 30 research articles in peer-reviewed journals. Presently, his research interest is in open and distance learning and technology-enabled learning. One important matter is that Dr. Rahul Bhattacharjee, formerly Associate Professor in Physics in Kavi Nazrul Mahavidyalaya and Women's College and Ramakrishna Mahavidyalaya, Kolashwar. Now, his title of presentation, Rules and Responsibility, a multidisciplinary approach to Indian higher education system. Now, may I invite Dr. Rahul Bhattacharjee to deliver his presentation. Dr. Bhattacharjee, please.
Thank you, Haribut sir. First of all, I would like to thank Dharmanagar College and the mainly organizing committee members. I especially is personally known to them for the last 18, 19 years because I worked in Tripura as a assistant, then associate professor at three different colleges. So I have very good relations with Dr. Raghunandan Das, Dr. Sujit Das of Physics Department. I find many of my colleagues, old colleagues are there, and also especially Horiput sir and principal also. Dharmanagar College principal. I have very good relation with him, Dr. Gautam Das, and other faculty members of Dharmanagar College. I know to everyone, especially today, my topics, I choose a multidisciplinary approach in higher educational system, Indian higher educational systems. This is because when we worked on the more syllabus framing in Tripura University, basically NEP 2000, mainly to looking after the NEP 2020, then we find that there is a lot of differences earlier syllabus framing and new syllabus framing. Earlier, I was also there in syllabus framing of Tripura University, also MBB University of Tripura. Their syllabus, when we frame the syllabus, we only think about the subject matters. Only suppose my subject is on physics, so we are framing as per our physics students, physics, considering their only interest in physics honors and physics pass. So our only concentration on the syllabus only. But when you are framing the last syllabus that is coming to be in 2022-23 sessions of Tripura University, we find that we have to frame syllabus. We have to frame syllabus for the other department only. This is a major change. What I observed, that is, we call the multidisciplinary holistic approach of higher educational systems. So there, from that point of view, I choose these topics to my discussion that I will go for multidisciplinary. What are the multidisciplinary approach today, and what are the thinking of many experts regarding this? Also, how can we achieve this multidisciplinary approach? Suppose I myself is a physics teacher in physics, was teacher in physics. Now I'm in administrative job. How it be useful, how we can make it for a social science subject, arts, humanities, peoples. So that is a real challenge for every of us to make the syllabus, a multidisciplinary, a holistic approach. So that is a really challenging task. So let us go for what are the things we have still. I have go through many articles and many things. Then I prepare my lectures like this. Okay, I'm sharing my slides. Is my slides is visible? Okay, I think so. So my topic of discussion is NEP 2020, a multidisciplinary approach to Indian higher education systems. Now, as told you that many times you came to know, my name is Rahul Bhattacharjee. I am now working as Regional Director, IGNU Regional Center Shillong, Nehu Campus, Umshring, Mekonro. So last month I just joined as this new post. Now let us go to what is the NEP 2020 about the multidisciplinary approach and written there. India has, I just quote from the NEP 2020 report. India has a long tradition of holistic and multidisciplinary learning from universities such as Takshashila and Nalanda to the extensive literature of India combining subjects across fields. So there is the term that we find that there is a multidisciplinary approach there in very early history of India. According to policy document, there is to be no hard separations between the streams and also between the sports, culture, and vocational crafts. Equal focus will also be given to academics and co-curricular activities. This holistic approach is aimed to ensure the students' overall development where they not only learn what in their syllabus but also learn essential life skills. Now, one thing we know from our experience that we have very hard separation means those who are science they cannot take any subjects from social science subjects as we all of aware of this. Also, in science also there are two separations is there. One is called biological science, one is called physical science that exist in Tripura. With syllabus we find that there are two types of, and there is a hard separations also there. Nobody can apply. If any student can take biology, as biology means zoology, human physiology, mm, or botany as a subject, he cannot be allowed to take any subject from physical science like physics, chemistry, mathematics. Maybe chemistry somewhere is allowed. So there is a hard separation. As we aware of this, we have some hard separation. Also, we find inside chemistry also there is hard separation between organic and inorganic physicals chemistry. So there is always there is a hard separations we observe in our normal syllabus. Now, because NEP 2020, we remove this hard separation. So it is our one of the motto that we should remove the hard separation between these two subjects, among these subjects. So there is any documents also mentioned imaginative and flexible curriculum structure will be enable creative combination of discipline for study and would offer multiple entry and exit points, thus removing currently prevalent rigid boundaries and creating new possibilities of lifelong learning. As mentioned, Professor Anude also, lifelong learning, meaning of exit and exit and entry of multiple times in higher education systems, graduate level masters and doctoral educations in large multidisciplinary university, while providing rigorous research-based specialization, would also provide opportunity for multidisciplinary work, including in academia, government, and industries. Nowadays, we see that those who are say physics peoples, they can only research on physics or that or something like chemistry related or maybe some mathematics. So multidisciplinary research is not also allowed by many universities. All say all universities, maybe few universities allow this multidisciplinary research, but you cannot go for multidisciplinary research now in a framework. So we should change this mindset that we should go for a research work, a work which is much more a multidisciplinary. Physics can, people can do work in sociology, social subjects like that. Towards the attaining of such a holistic and multi-disciplinary education, the flexible and innovative curricula of all higher education institutions shall include credit-based course and project in the areas of community engagement and service, environmental education, and values education. That is, so many words are there. So, what is the meaning of that words is that we should make a curriculums. We can make a curriculum for every stream. Like my stream is say physics, if somebody said chemistry, somebody said mathematics, I should make the curriculum such that some other students from some other department, say social science, arts, humanities, may can do some do some courses, not the all courses, but some courses from physics. So these are the framework already done. Suppose environmental issues, there are so many environmental issues that are common for every students. So they can do some knowledge on environment. This is very important because value based education. So teacher from so student from science, they can do some value based educations or so, courses from value based educations. And also Professor Ronum, they also mentioned that ABC means academic bank of credit. So these are the possible way of next decade, means next 10 years we will see this type of changes will happen in all of the universities, that they will frame their curriculums in such a way that students can
Dr. Vatsarji, hello. Dr. Vatsarji, hello. Dr. Vatsarji,
Hello, Haribol sir.
yes, yes.
Sir, maybe the network issue is here. So, sir will rejoin within few minutes.
Okay, okay.
I was out of. Let us continue. Let me finish quickly. And what that there is a hard and soft sciences are available nowadays. Sciences implicitly that they subject physics, economic, like biology, human beings, etc. The collecting data as much information. That's a hard of science. So, what is disciplinary Hollywood? So experts give you get this this holistic style of different learn social help all uh, is the this this, this science that now will happen next that therefore them actually them think if that was developed. Okay, so that part is comment this streams to will not can it mix science. So make on this change to the 2020 2020
I think there is a network problem, Dr. Bhattacharya. Actually, we are not hearing you. Uh, I can request you to wait for some time. In the meantime,
Music and to all colleges of music, philosophy, Indianology, art, education, statistics, and applied science, psychology course, etc. And interpretation, etc. produce institute.
hello,
Uh, major
Dr.
challenges
Bhattacharya.
and education
Dr.
aims
Bhattacharya.
taught every every support
Hello,
from
Dr.
us.
Bhattacharya.
No separation in our science regular internship program will be included from us follow holy mark.
Dr. Bhattacharya. Actually, Dr. Bhattacharya is not audible to us. Now we can sense the schedule. Hello,
4 years from now up to practice. Any problems? Yes. Any problem?
hello, Dr. Bhattacharya.
Hello. There is problem. Hello. প্রবলেমটা
Good afternoon. I think there is a network problem. Actually, Dr. Bhattacharya is not audible. In this regard, may I request Dr. Pranav Soikia, Dr. Soikia, to represent his presentation. Dr. Soikia, I am audible. Dr. Soikia, Dr. Pranav Soikia. Okay, Dr. Shokia is here in the screen. Actually, some network problem. Now, may I request Dr. Pranav Shokia to deliver his presentation regarding Dr. Shokia. Actually, Dr. Shokia, Pranav Shokia has been working as associate professor in KKSSOU since 16th February 2017. He started his teaching career as a lecturer in postgraduate teachers training college, Lakhimpur, Assam from 1st August 2006. He has a vast experience of working as a teacher of higher education across the northeast states like Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, and Assam. Uh, he has 9 number of journal publications and he has 8 research papers in books and 3 research and consultancy projects. His field of specialization, education technology and teacher education. Scholarly interest, teaching and training, education, innovation, technology integration in teaching and training, ODL, guidance and counseling, like skill development and gender issues in education. Today's his topics is issues and concern in implementing National Education Policy 2020 for higher education institution. Now, may I request Dr. Pranav Shoikia to deliver his presentation. Dr. Shoikia, please. Dr. Shoikia. Hello. Dr. Shoikia.
হ্যালো, হ্যাঁ আমি তো
Hello.
হ্যাঁ স্যার,
Now,
হরিপদ স্যার।
yes, you are audible.
Okay. So respected principal of Dharmanagar Government College, respected other resource person who have delivered earlier, Dr. Haripada Datta sir, organizers, and my dear friends and colleagues across different colleges of Tripura. আজকে আমি অনেক খুশি হচ্ছে যে প্রায় 10 বছরের পরে আবার ত্রিপুরার সঙ্গে আমার একটা সংযোগ হয়েছে। আমি বিলোনিয়া গভর্নমেন্ট কলেজে কাজ করেছিলাম 2 বছর, 2011 and 2012। তো এই জন্য আমার কিছু একটা প্রাইমারি এক্সপিরিয়েন্স সেখানে কাজ করার একটা আছে। আজকের যে টপিক আপনারা বেছে নিছেন আজকের ডিসকাশনের জন্য, এটা খুব রেলেভেন্ট হয়েছে, খুব টাইমলি হচ্ছে, আমার এটা খুব ভালো লাগছে। আমার একটা লিমিটেড এক্সপিরিয়েন্স আছে, আমার লিমিটেড নলেজ আছে, তার মধ্যে আমি not as a resource person, simply you can consider me as one of your colleague, আৰু এই on the basis of this fraternity sentiment or bonding, I would like to share, maybe some of the participants more knowledgeable to আমি খুব বেশি আমি এনইপি যে ডকুমেন্টস আছে সেখানে যেগুলি প্রভিজন আছে এগুলি আর রিপিট করতাম না, কারণ এটা একটা ওপেন ডকুমেন্ট, এটা সবাইয়ের জন্য অ্যাক্সেসিবল। এখন সাপোজ গভর্নমেন্ট কলেজ ধর্মনগর, ঠিক আছে, আমি ফর দ্য চেক অফ দিস ডিসকাশন আমি এটা ওন করিয়া নিলাম যে দিস ইজ মাই কলেজ and we are all colleagues sitting for a integration of uh, Government Degree College Dharmanagar to NEP requirement. With this context, I would like to present you that being a college located in a bordering location of your state, both way in Assam and Tripura, strategically Dharmanagar is a very important place, and it is a in other way by road it is a gateway of Tripura. And I have gone through a little bit of your website and found it is established in 1979. So it has a decades of experience of imparting higher education. So that definitely this is a matured college, one of the matured college of the state. It has the capability, and it's reflecting 2016 by achieving CGPA 2.79 in NEC accreditation. So the college has itself reveals its prospects and capability, maturity to adopt NEP 2020. Whatever written in NEP is important, but most important thing is to bring all those things to your place and implement it for the betterment of your students. This is the ultimate goal of all academics. Yeah, I'm really happy that the Dharmanagar College having art, science, professional course like BCA, DCA, maybe commerce will come, maybe management will come in due course of time. So 18 subjects, and also there is some promising cell like career counseling cell, coaching for competitive examination, NSS cell, NCC. There is also IGNO, Tripura University Distance Education. There is a provision of whatever NEP says of holistic higher education. The context is well equipped with all this. There is also vibrant alumni association. There is also IQAC. So from the terms of location, terms of importance, terms of experience, Dharmanagar College is one of the probably most important college who should develop a model to integrate NEP in its own institution and so the part to other institution. What philosophy, what aims, what pillars on which this particular NEP is stands, and everybody knows that there is a 5 pillars of NEP, that is access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. These are the 5 pillars, and each and every teachers, management, alumni, and other stakeholders, it is duty to find out the mechanism, action plan through which we can get the desired access to higher education for all. We can provide equity in terms of all socio-economically backward students. We can ensure quality, which is the order of the day right now, and also affordability, which is really applicable in case of Tripura, and accountability, of course, Accountability lies with the management. Accountability lies with the teachers. Accountability lies with the alumni and the other learning community surrounding Dharmanagar College. And in this college, now we have to create a holistic learning environment, flexible higher education system, and also a multidisciplinary higher education system. So on these 5 pillars, we have to exercises our intellect, exercises our experiences, exercises our uh, you know all local resources to make higher education holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. So in this course, what we should do? First thing, everything for a change starts from within. It is not that changes happen somewhere and you buy all those change and adopt it. It is not like that. Change always starts from within, and whatever NEP is envisages, not only in NEP, whatever going on around the world or across the country, what kind of changes, what kind of economic changes, what kind of political changes, what kind of social changes, what kind of cultural changes, what kind of information and communication technology changes that has been going on in the 21st century. All teachers and all stakeholders first be aware about that. Awareness is the key. And once you are aware that there is a paradigm shift in the teaching learning process, in the knowledge domain, in terms of ICT revolution brings lots of revolutionary and drastic changes in economy, in society, culture, in society, in human interaction, in communication. So how to anticipate all these changes, how to accommodate all these changes? For that you need knowledge. So awareness is the first condition. Each and every stakeholder, including teachers, should aware about what is going on in the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Because of ICT, it is not that all advanced development is happens only in America, Chicago, California, London, Berlin. No, because of ICT, because whatever happened today, right now in Berlin, people of Berlin can access, I can also access from Assam, you can also access from Dharmanagar. So it is a complete a different kind of fabric we have been experiencing. And in this particular context, we cannot think that only advanced development possible in advanced countries. It is possible in Dharmanagar. So for that, we need the awareness, we need the appropriate knowledge. And third thing is that normally in our general degree colleges, there is a stereotype of kind of things we have been doing days in and days out. As a result of that, there is an inertia developed within us. Sometimes even at the time of distribution of classroom routine also, uh, there is a problem. If SOD assign a new paper to one faculty member, he hesitated, he resisted, because always change is always started with resistance. Because if someone is go for a new paper, then definitely he have to study, he have to work hard. So people, when have been habituated to a stereotype kind of things for a long time, then automatically a kind of inertia can. So through proper awareness and proper knowledge, we have to develop positive attitude among our faculty members, among our colleagues, peers, that this is the time not to rest. This is the time because our civilization, the agricultural civilization, the industrialized civilization, and the computer revolution, and now we are ICT revolution. This is the as per Alvin Toffler term, is as the third wave of revolution. But you see, within 10 years, now we have entered the age of artificial intelligence. That means Industrial Revolution 4.0. So many change has been, we have been observing, we have been experiencing in everywhere. There is a Flipkart, there is a An Academy, there is a Byju's, there is a Vedantu. So many new things emerge of so rapidly. So if you not develop proper awareness, knowledge, and you not develop proper positive attitude, aggressive attitude, no new policy, no education policy can change anything in Dharmanagar or in Assam or in Jammu Kashmir, or you can say entire world or entire nation. So these three things very important. After your proper awareness, sufficient or appropriate knowledge, and developing positive attitude, there is fourth condition we have to fulfill, that is skill and capacity building. Because whatever we have learned during our studenthood and whatever present student is learning is completely different. Whatever the mode of teaching during our studenthood and whatever the mode of teaching using right now is completely different. There is a paradigm shift in the teaching learning process. Earlier, teaching learning process is predominantly occupied by the teachers. Now, it is a self-learning. It is a technology-based learning. Algorithmic classroom, analog classroom. This is the age, and the COVID-19 have proved or forced us to go into in that kind of blended ways of learning. So things are not remain what it has been or what it had been 10 years back, 5 years back. It has been continuously continuing, and I'm telling you, the human civilization is now in transition phase. And if you want to be a member of this human civilization, definitely you have to need new skills and capacity buildings. And the number five is participation. Please don't mind. During my college teaching experience, I found I have working 3-4 colleges earlier before joining university. Most of the cases in all colleges, there is a core group of 4 or 5. These 4 or 5 people, along with principals, doing everything for NAC accreditation or other activities of the college. And the rest, 70-80%, just come and attend classes. This is the situation. This is the reality that has been going on since long. But now, gone under the age. It is the age of participation, collaboration. This seminar, see, it looks so nice that the NEP 2020 suggests for a multidisciplinary approach in our curricula and the flexible, innovative curricula. And this is the first step taken by the Dharmanagar College, that this particular webinar is organized by Humanities and Science. This is one step of multidisciplinary, that's multidisciplinarity in practice. So, in this way, with a small step by step, we have to go ahead. Suppose in case of Dharmanagar, I am not, please forgive me, I am not suggesting, just at the outset, I have said that I own Dharmanagar College as of my own college. I also considered myself a faculty member of a university, and this is the meeting. We are sitting for discussing how to integrate or how to work out for fulfill the requirement of NEP, and for that, first requirement is that probably Dharmanagar College on the verge of its NAC accreditation right now. Yes, maybe Dr. Hariprada Datta sir is the coordinator of NAC, if I am not mistaken. Hariprada sir. Hello. Hello. But Haripada Datta sir's name is in the website I found as a Haripada Datta sir as a coordinator. Okay, now this is the year probably, I don't know, probably Dharmanagar colleges may be working out or maybe preparing for NEC assessment, NEC accreditation. For that, I don't know. I do believe you have completed your 5 years AQAR. You have submitted to
Yes,
NEC
yes.
or UGC.
Already
Okay.
completed 5 years. Now we are trying
Okay.
to neck for second cycle.
Yes. Yes. So this is one step of NEP integration. This is one step. The entire college fraternity should wholeheartedly devoted for this kind of accreditation, and it is a tough accreditation. Maybe in 2016, it was a first cycle or a second cycle, sir?
Second cycle. It will be second cycle. It will be second
Okay,
cycle.
second cycle. Second cycle. So at the first cycle, you get 2.79. But first cycle is easy, always easy. Second cycle is very tough because your quality, your performance is assessed on the basis of your first assessment. Whatever you presented in 2016, the same thing if you have presented, then definitely our Dharmanagar college will not get a score. So what exception, what innovation we have been, create or present, that is important. Presentation is very important. Documentation is very important. And NAC assessment is become tougher because it is a 70-30, quantitative and qualitative kind of, division of marks. But still, I do suggest, I do appeal the whole fraternity of Dharmanagar College to get united and exercise the best, deliver your best, organize the everything, present everything, because your 30% is also very important. And as a team, present yourself so that you can get a grade. Because once you get A grade, there is a lots of opportunities you can avail what is envisaged in NEP 2020. Because if we are discussing what is the provision of NEP, this, that, because it is an open document, I have told you, and it is since last 2 years it is uploaded in the website. So it is a time of action, and this is the thing. And Dr. Sir, just as one of your own people, I just place my observation that you need a website committee before invitation to NEC, because I go through your website and I found it is a good website, but still needs lots of upgradation. For example, faculty profile. Dr. Sumon Odhikari's file, I have faculty profile in the Department of Chemistry, I have found, but there also need updation. So I request to IQAC team to go, updated profile of all faculty members, and also need some reorganization of your website. Suppose in academics, in your website academic section, you insert the RTI Act. So actually RTI should be in the homepage itself. So in that way, please organize the website. For that, you please prepare a website, upgradation or website committee who can go through the different website of reputed colleges of India across India, and accordingly redesign your website. Suppose in news and event section, this is the program you have taken today, but there is no visibility of your program today in your website. In news and event, it should be scrolled. Okay? A workshop is that conducted this that. So in that way, we can just, I mentioned one or two things like that. There is a lots of scope for everybody, for me also, to improvement. So I request our college fraternity to work on to updation of this website so that we can get a good marks in the NEC. Suppose Tripura University Distance Education Council also at place. So it will serve two purpose. See, two purpose. There is a responsibility of a college in three basic areas. One is teaching, another is research, and another is extension. And in extension part, these two units may help you to reach the unreached, because through popularizing the IGNO programs and Tripura University distance education programs and enrolling the people from different sections of the Dharmanagar locality who are unable to enroll in the regular program due to different reasons. So this is one kind of things that will help you to, so as a community extension services that establish, we have established a open and distance learning center, and it popularize it among the masses of the locality, and accordingly you see that huge number of learners access to higher education through these avenues. In this way, we establish the community engagement of the college. And secondly, recently I visited a college. College name is uh, it's in Golaghat district of Assam. College name is just I forgot the name. That college awarded A plus by NEC. In between, I tell the name of the college. I visited, and it is a very rural college. And the principal told me that they are not awarded A plus because of their academics excellence, because of their sports infrastructure, because of their NCC and NSS. Because so many people get employed due to sports quota, due to NCC quota, due to NSS quota, and they are the vibrant, tree cells. On the basis of that, this is the first college who awarded A plus in last December 2021, and this is their fifth cycle of NEC assessment. So at fifth cycle of NEC assessment, getting A plus, it is an outstanding achievement, and it is possible not through academics, because in rural area, developing in receiving academic excellence that expected by NAC is a little bit tougher, but they exploit their strength. Their strength is sports, their strength is NCC, their strength is NSS. Okay, so all this, and I have found in your college there is NCC, NSS. It's great. I request, if possible, you can add another feature that is called NSO, National Sports Organization. You can introduce one NSO that will create an ecosystem of sports, and as a result of that, youth of locality and student of Dharmanagar College may explore, or may flourishing their potentiality through sports and other activities. And I request another thing. You consider all these things. You may accept or you may not accept. That you see, research and innovation is one of the important criteria that has been envisaged in different commissions, different reports, UGC also, and in NEP 2020 also. So please create or form a innovation council, and that innovation council helps you in many numerous ways. Engage in that council teachers, students, and that innovation council will help you to link your college to the government of India's initiative of Startup India. And this particular initiative, Startup India initiative, is taken for innovation and entrepreneurship. And state like Tripura, where employment generation is very less, industry is less, so there students need innovation and entrepreneurship for their future engagements. That's why a innovation council in Dharmanagar College, engaging teachers, students, local entrepreneurs, local prominent alumni, so that this innovation council can exploit or identify the local opportunities, local resources, and accordingly you can design the college community engagement service or other vocational skills to be developed among your students. And another important thing I would like to share that recently, maybe last month, UGC give a very important notice that every college and university should form a research and development cell. Maybe our principal sir of Dharmanagar College get this UGC notification, and UGC request all colleges and universities to form this particular cell and submit whatever action taken to UGC, maybe by this month itself. And in this particular research and development cell, with a view to create a research ecosystem, and this is a very well organized, well architect system. For the first time, UGC has been given to all higher education institution, and in this particular cell, principal of our college will be the chairperson, and there will be one director of this research and development cell, and under this there is a 5 committee. Committee number 1 is finance and infrastructure. This particular committee explore that how for conducting research activity, where from the finance we get avenues for finance, maybe from industry, maybe from CSR, maybe from social development, maybe from education, maybe from
Hello, Dr. Shoikia. Dr. Shoikia, I think there is a network problem.
okay, sir, is it audible?
Audible,
Okay,
audible.
audible. Okay, sir. In this particular research and development cell, first the committee is for finance and infrastructure. Second committee is research program and policy development. That means that committee uh, organize different research program on the basis of the policy taken by the college. And the third committee is collaboration and community, which is very essential nowadays for every educational institution. And committee 4 is product development, monitoring and commercialization. You go to the spirit. I request everybody to go through the UGC website and find out this UGC research and development cell. This is very important, very critical. And you see committee 4, you just listen again: product development, monitoring and commercialization. It clearly indicates that the earlier precedents of conducting MRP or minor research or major research project, nobody knows. Some a teacher, entrepreneur teachers apply UGC, ICSSR, and he get the fund and he conduct his project. After that, with utilization certificate, he submit it to UGC, and he has a copy submit to the principal, and principal send it to the library, and the research is completed. But now all those days are gone. I'm coming just within a second. I tell you the reality. That's why now it's clearly, UGC clearly indicate that on the basis of your research, you create products, go for commercialization, and also monitoring. And the unit committee number 5 is intellectual property right, legal and ethical matters, or whatever is connected with research as well as its product. So there is a 5 committee, and this research development cell, if not formed in Dharmanagar College, I request immediately form it and submit it to UGC, and not only submit it to UGC, form the 5 committees, conduct committee, and before NAC visit to your college, do something exceptional under this research and development council, because this is a new information. Every college now forming the committee and send after that seat, but you take a proactive action and you do some exceptional 1 or 2 things under this research and development cell, and that will greatly impact the neck peer team, because they are not coming to see the commonness, they are visiting to your college to see what is uniqueness in your teaching learning process, what is uniqueness in your community engagement, what is uniqueness in your research or extension activities, what is uniqueness in the support services, what is uniqueness in your co-curricular activities. All uniqueness they have to assess, evaluate it. And if you can do something exception, then definitely it will have a great impact, will have a great impact on these PR team members. And now I have to sum up because it is a time for lunch. Uh, it, mm, yeah, it is a time for lunch in Tripura, ideal time. So, whatever important thing I've said, it is very painful to abstaining from lunch, and but you see, NEP says, now I come to you, you bring down to the reality. NEP says that through NEP, India will achieve the status of Biswa Guru. But in 2020, QS World University Ranking, QS means Quarequel Syndromes, a company of England who working on higher education. Every year, this QS World University, they rank on the basis of different criteria, and in 22 result is as such. Only 8 in higher education institution, 8 number of higher education institution only featured top 500, and all those institutions, I am telling you, the first institution rank 177, and it is IIT Mumbai. IIT New Delhi got the position 185. Indian Institute of Science Bangalore get the position 186. IIT Madras 255. IIT Kanpur 277. IIT Kharagpur 280. And good news is that IIT Guwahati ranked 395 and IIT Roorkee 400. You see, India is a vast country and 1,040 universities are here. Institute of national importance is here. World-class IIMs, IITs are here. But you see, only 8 institutions featured among top 500 of world university ranking. And from 501 to 600, there are 2 university features. One is Jawaharlal Nehru University and another is Delhi University. So you see, we set the target of becoming a Biswaguru, and in 2022, our position is that. This is one reality bites. And second, you see, if you gone through the NEP, there is need a huge, amount of money, financial requirement. But from 2012, there is a stagnation in spending of higher education from government side. From 1.3 to 1.5% of GDP is invested since 2012 to till the date. This is one thing. On the other hand, NEP urges to increase the intake capacity of 25% up to each and every higher education institution, including Dharmanagar College. On the other hand, Ministry of Finance tries to ban on creation of new teaching posts. This is another reality. And the present, if you see the higher education institution, especially the government sector, there is overcrowded classroom, poor ventilation, sanitation, poor hostel accommodation, poor library facilities, etc., etc. This is the present condition. And now, you see, the government financial allocation for student financial aid in 2021 and 22 financial year, 2,482 crores rupees were invested, but in financial year 2022 and 23, only 2,078 crores. That means it decreased instead of increasing it, because there is a appeal from NEP that you increase 25% of seat in your respective institution. On the other hand, government student financial aids is decreasing. And in terms of allocation of research and innovation, it's come down to 8%, reaching now only 280 crores. And those who are habituated to apply for different MRP in different funding agency may know that right now getting funding is very difficult, because funding agency itself have no fund. And you see, every college get general development grant from UGC, and this grant also, there is also stagnation. There is only 4,693 crores is allocated for 22 and 23. And regarding UGC major minor project, only this year, only 38 lakhs rupees is only allocated. It is really shock. So in this way, there is one reality is going on. In another reality, that is our aspiration to provide education, higher education especially, holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, on the basis of the 5 pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. So this aspiration and this allocation is a little bit contradictory. But that doesn't mean that we'll sit and only criticize. But it is the age of entrepreneurship. Dharmanagar College, I'm insisting to get good grade. Why? Because if you get A grade, then there is a provision of giving online education. There are also provision of giving open and distance learning. There is also lots of provision if you get A grade, good grade. Or if you get above 2 or 3.26, then there is a lots of opportunity for you. So that's why I'm repeatedly telling you that please go for wholeheartedly, give full effort to get a good NAC accreditation. And another important thing I would like to remind that don't take your service as a granted. This is the age of globalization. And you see how government school education has been silently go to the private party. This is also coming to higher education. You go to the NEP, they find in 2030, you are requested to maintain 3,000 students in your college. Your college strength should be 3,000. If not, then there is a definitely provision of amalgamation. Suppose X college is not gathering a learner of 3,000. So only 500, 600, 1,000. So, okay, merge it with another college. This is possible. And you see, there is a growing number of self-financed private university across India, in Assam also, in Guwahati also. If you visit, there is so many university, Royal Global University, Don Bosco University. And if you visit all those universities, there is a world-class infrastructure. And they recently visit by NAC also, they get A grade. So this is another reality. And now, even middle-class family also send their children, feel proud to send their children to all those private institutions. This is one challenge. And number three, my earlier speaker, Anup Dev sir, told you that you get on the basis of the accreditation, you gradually get the autonomous in the sense financially, academically, and governance. That means gradually government will put off their hands from your nurturing, and gradually give you the all autonomy to you, and ask you to run your college, generate revenues, collect students, create courses of values or market relevance and everything. So becoming a self-sustaining college, you need a good grade. Otherwise, where from you generate revenues? Where from? And also, I am telling you, I told you that your services please not be taken granted. That I will retire at the age of 60. Do you know there is a multiple entry and exit system? That means lateral entry system for student. But there is also another provision: lateral entry of professors. And those professors don't need any PhD, don't need qualification of NEC or sorry NET or JRF everything. On the basis of their expertise in a particular field, knowledge in a particular field, they will be directly recruited as a professors at the age of any age, maybe 55, maybe 56. You need a vocational teachers in art and craft. Okay, there is an outstanding personality of in your locality, you can engage him. So this is another things come up. Suppose tomorrow, okay, Mr. X and Y is so he is only teaching history. Otherwise, he don't know anything. Okay, give him voluntary retirement. Rather engaging him, we engage somebody else from mass communication, some professionals from archives or libraries to teach history. So this is a reality coming up, and it is coming up very rapidly. So if you will not anticipate today, and then it would be for you a future shock, like Alvin Toffler predicted in 1971 through his famous book Future Shock, that there will be an ICT revolution, and those people who are not anticipate this ICT revolution will get a shock. And you see, across the world now, Mark Zuckerberg, you know, regulate the world without establishing a physical office, and he become a rich, not only rich person, he becoming a great businessman, he becoming a great decision maker, because through all those data he accumulated through Facebook, for WhatsApp or other social media, they can doing great business. And that is why data science becomes a imperative or essential part of our life. So these are the things, and I want to conclude with this, that in context of Tripura, I tell you one things. Please, uh, whenever you go through the NEP 2020, and when you sit and preparing action plan for your Tripura, from my experience in 2011 and 12, I found Tripura is many students coming from, majority of the students coming from a very poor family. And in Bologna, when I worked during 2011 and 12, there in degree first year, there is a three section: section one, section A, section B, and section C. Such a huge number of students come. And in second semester, second year, that time it was an annual system. And second year, there is a two section, section A and section B. And in third year, just one section. And in that section, I still remember 329 students were there in education. And I take 329, not all 100%, still 200 plus students every day without any help of technology, without any microphone physically. Can you imagine the kind of class it is? Now, there is a provision of multiple exit and entry. Just I give you one example how to rationalize or how to contextualize the things. There is a provision of multiple exit and entry, and on the basis of that, suppose a student admitted in first semester, and he can leave second semester with a certificate. He can leave fourth semester with a diploma. He can leave sixth semester with a degree. He can leave eighth semester with a research degree, like that. But don't generalize this multiple exit and entry system, or normalize this multiple entry and exit system in Tripura. This is the case of many states also, because students are after 2 semesters, not living because he get a certificate. He's living because he has a financial problem, because he has a other gender-based problem. He has a maybe for livelihood purpose he has to leave the college. So there is a so many problems that gender, caste, or otherwise influence the dropout in higher education. So that's why a student spending 2 semesters and after that take a certificate and go out. What is the value of that certificate? You tell me. If you want to add values to that certificate, then accordingly you have to sit and plan the first 2 semesters curriculum in such a way that at least one vocational, one soft skills, at least mandatorily be in the first semester itself, so that if a student, due to his financial reason, due to other reason, due to family problems, live in between, whatever certificate he take from your institution have a value, some productivity. So that's why we need a brainstorming. We have to sit physically. We have to brainstorm. Science, arts, commerce people, management people, entrepreneurship, all should sit. Whatever available in Dharmanagar or expertise from outside, you bring and sit together and go for brainstorming to find out how efficiently, how effectively you can develop a system for multidisciplinary curriculum through which, if we practice multiple exit and entry system, that will help. With this word, I thank you, Dharmanagar College, for this invitation. Due to your kind invitation, I got this opportunity. Bear all these technical hassles. This is part of the technical, online interaction. With this word, thank you, Haripada sir. And
Thank
in
you,
between,
Dr.
if
Dr.
if
Shakya.
if I were harsh in any word or any impression,
No,
please
no, no,
forgive
no.
me.
No, no, very
Whatever,
nice presentation.
yeah, yeah.
You have
Thank you.
made so many suggestions and informations for us. Obviously, we will try to carry out your suggestions. Thank you, Dr. Shoikia.
Thank you, sir.
We are at the end of our session. It is very pleasure to us. I think Dr. Aravind Mahato has joined in our program. Dr. Mahato is
Yeah,
our
yeah.
guest partner for
Yes, sir.
today's webinar. Okay. Uh, Actually, Dr. Mahato is the HOD in charge of Department of Rural Studies, Tripura University. We are waiting for your valuable space,
Yeah,
Dr. Mahato.
yeah. Thank you. Actually, I am extremely sorry that I am being late. Actually, my flight just landed, and after coming to home, I could able to join you. Uh, Sir, that national education policy. Now I was listening. Uh, uh, it's a thing is that why there was a requirement of national education policy. I would like to see on that those aspects. What was the situation in our country, and why suddenly after 1986 there was a requirement of national education policy or a such policy which can build India in a periphery or in a circumstances where the India can be one of the leading educational hub in the worldwide, and what is our traditional education system and all that has to be understand. So suppose that if you are talking about Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, so Radhakrishnan has said to him, the philosophy was a way of understanding life, and his study of Indian philosophy served as a cultural therapy. By interpreting Indian thought in Western terms and showing that it was imbued with reason and logic, he was able to give Indians a new sense of esteem, who were overcome by inferiority complex by imperial forces. Now, how our education system is still giving us the complexion of an inferior, that I need to highlight here. Suppose I am telling ki
who has discovered India? The most of the answer is Bhaskar da Gama. But we have to literate ourselves that India is a country. It's not a kid who has forgot his way, and somebody has came and it may be discovering for them. They have understood India, where it is located and all. But Indians, how could read that India has discovered by Bhaskar da Gama? The second example mostly I used to quote. The 1857, the revolt against the British Emperor is known as revolt. Why? Our people has fought for our freedom, and we are talking about them the Bidrohi. So these things need to rebuild and understand. We are talking about always that Alexander the Great. Every page of Lord Mountbatten, everywhere. Why he is Lord for us? He may be Lord for the Britishers who has control our country, who has sucked the resources of our country, pull out all the resources of our country, and the many more things. And in the scientific era, because most of you are from maybe scientific background, I would like to say a few words. That Jagdish Chandra Bose has discovered that plant has a life in around 200 years back. But you know that long back, in 3005 years back, it has been established that it has been, Bhaskaracharya has been told that, I am not able to recall the name, but it has been written documentary proof that the plant has a life. But it was not logically proof in the sense of Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose has proved it. So, but we are believer on the patent giver, the US based, America based, Australia based organizations. Those still, if they are providing us the patent, then only we can say this is a knowledge. Otherwise, whatever we have, these are not knowledge. So the ancient gurus, Acharya, Bhaskaracharya, the Chanakya, the other eminent personality, Aryabhat, who has given the concept of zero. So there are many more things, but still we are feeling that we are inferior. So I started from the Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. He himself has realized that Indian education system is giving a complexion to us that we are the inferior. So if any community is given a feel like that, ki we are the inferior, then it become the inferior. Suppose I put one example. If you have a servant in your house and you are telling him that your father was a judge, your grandfather was a very good doctor, and you suddenly become a servant like that, automatically he will revolt and he will leave your servant job, because he will feel that he has a guts to better serve the country, not as a servant. But if you are still telling your father was a servant to me, he was a very poor guy, we helped them, the grandfather was also very poor, he was serving to us, and he was very poor, he was not able to read and write anything, he was like that. So it will give a feelings to a servant that he is actually meant for to serve yourself. So India has made a colony by Britishers on the by geographical location around 75 years back, but in educational system still it's a part of colony, and still we are feeling that we are inferior, and that's why there is a race who can go to US, who can go to London, who can go to New York, and who can have a mechanism, inferior status. There was a need of education system, and this education system 2022, I feel it's a revolutionary in this part. Further, we have to understand what Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan was telling. India is a new sense of esteem, who were overcome by inferiority complex by imperial factors. But he also made clear to them that their long and rich tradition had been arrested and required further evaluation. And he exhorted Indians to cast off much that was corrupt and aberrant. So what Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan has said, India, after the getting the freedom, 70 years, 75 years we are celebrating now, still we are not able to get that education system. Now we have to look our father of nations, Dr. Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, what he has said. In the Nai Talim education system, he has said that wherever your hand, heart, and head are not connected, you are not able to get the education. So that's why somebody was telling you why the Indian universities are not coming in the top 200 universities. I would like to put on the point, on the record, that why a carpenter is better carpenting work. A garage boy can open your car properly and rebuild the car, but a mechanical engineer can't do it. A mechanical engineer take his car to that 8-pass guy and he can repair your car, but you are not able to understand what's the fault you had in your car. So what's the education system we are following? There where the hand is not connected with my heart and head is not connected. So in that education system, what do I am telling you? Okay, you are a very good student, you take the science. So first batch of students are getting science, and who will be the teacher? Who didn't get the medical, who didn't get the engineer. So who is going to be the teacher? Who is going to build your nation? So that is the education system. So now this education system has a trigger and attack on this colonial education system, and it is talking. Suppose I have put the example of education. So education now BA, BSc, B.Ed has been open. After inter only, after higher secondary only, you can decide that you have to decide that you want to be a doctor, you want to be an engineer, or you want to be a teacher. So like that, many other options. Suppose a physics guy like very much in music. Don't in the present education system, he has no choice to take the subject of music. But in this current national education system, which you are going to implement, it has that opportunity. I put another example. Why this education system is very important in the terms of multiple entry and multiple exit options. Now, suppose a girl, while he was in graduation second year, got married and shifted to Bombay. Then she wanted to start again her career after 5 years. She has to take admission in the first year of graduation. So it is like a system. You have a mobile phone, absolutely the Chinese mobile phone, and you feel that once you put it in charge, it will go on charging. But after 70%, you feel that I need to talk, so you remove the charger. And you have started talking, then again you put the charger, it is again start from zero. Will you buy that mobile? So our education system is like that. Once you drop out from any point of time, then you have to start from the zero again. So that system needs to be figured out. And this education policy is telling whatever the credit you have earned, that can be accumulated, and that has to be compiled, and then your degree will be awarded. Suppose a second year dropout, he or she can join after 5 years to third year graduation system. So like that, multiple entry and multiple exit options is going to give us the build on this. Another, there are no we now confuse that which approval actually basically needed. UGC approval, AICT approval, NCT approval. There are many more things. So now there are going to build a Higher Education Commission of India, and that will build University Grant Commission. We know. So this is meant for grant. Also monitor the education. And also there is a AICT which is monitor the technical university parameters. So like that confusion, grant is given by somebody and the monitoring power is with somebody else. So this education system in higher education is creating a problem for us. So that's why there is a provision for higher education, that is Higher Education Commission of India, and it will be light but tight single regulator for higher education. It will increase the access, it will increase the equity among the students, it will increase the inclusion. So both the parameter which we are talking about, that will give the merge. Another option, the private. It is the option where it is giving the opportunity for the mixing of public and private. We know, suppose Dharmanagar College is running, Tripura University running, those are completely government organization. But I am surprised that IGFI University, how they are getting so many of his students. Last year, they have taken 340 students in Bachelor of English. So what education facility they are providing? So absolutely the private education system has came up in our front of us, and we have to trigger it with a scientific approach, scientific method, and it can be possible only when we are able to mix this public and private. So this Higher Education Commission will also take the responsibility of mixing this public and private education system. Government will phase out the difficulties, the affiliation of colleges in 50th year, and a stage-wise mechanism is to be established for granting graded autonomy to the college. Now, suppose Dharmanagar College can be one of the autonomy college, and they can pursue the PhD, the research activity, but still they don't have autonomy. Still, they have to be dependent on the financial part to state government and the educational part to Tripura University. Now, how the education system will run to Dharmanagar College or such Vilonia College or other colleges? So, if the college is established at their own strength, it can be a autonomy. It can get the autonomy. So, autonomy always give a better prospect of learning and other opportunities. That's why we see the Tripura University may be little better than other colleges. Students are interested to come because it has a autonomy and it has a monitoring capacity of their own education system at their own level. So why not the educational autonomy has been given to few such big colleges, at least those are able to establish. Now government is planning in this national education policy that establish an academic bank credit, digitally storing academic credits, and that's what I mentioned. Now, little bit portion, in 3-4 minutes, I would like to also highlight the primary education system because time is late and I was late. So in this time, I also wanted to mention that in primary education, now we are talking the private system will come and all. But anybody of us, those are highly qualified, are getting our kids admission in a government school? It's honest answer. It's no. Any bureaucrat, any IS officer, any doctor, engineer, professors are not getting their student admission in the government schools. Why? That need to understand. There is a group of people are getting their kids admission at the 3 years of age in very good a play school or nursery school. Our government education system starts from after the age of 6. So we are creating a two level of people, two kind of people. One, those are getting education from the class 3, nursery itself at the age of 3. And the another group of people, those are the public, general public, poor people of our country. Those are getting the education at the class age of after 66. So 3 years, the race have started between the two kid who has completed the 3 years race. After that, somebody is joining behind him. So it's absolutely the private school, those have completed the 3 years journey in the private school or nursery school, they will win the race. So there is a need to balance. That's why this national education policy first time has been given the opportunity that childhood education and childhood care, early childhood care and education, ECCE. Also, there are other option in the curricular system which will build. Suppose pedagogical learning, the language learning. Kids can learn very easily. So why this time is spoiled? Why not they have been put up in an environment where the learning environment is as well as was there? And learning, it doesn't mean always that ABCD and all kind of things. Its learning is always the social, cultural, how to talk, how to behave, how to understand the grasp the things that play schools are playing the role. So government school, why not play that? Why not play that role? And the large number of beneficiary of poor people should get benefit out of that. So these are the another paradigm of national education policy that we need to think. And then mother tongue, the importance of mother tongue. Still, Those are Bengali, we feel always to talk in Bengali like that. Whatever English we know, we are fluent in English, but whenever we get a Bengali guy, would like to talk with him Bengali. And why? Because our minds, our hearts are thinking in our own mother tongue. But we are forced and compelled to learn the other foreign languages. Now this is the situation. But foreign languages still we have to learn. The national, the world periphery, it's not denying us. But if we forget our mother tongue, we'll lose our thought process. Why the second Meghnad Saha, why Jagdish Chandra Bose are not getting up in our country? Maybe one of the reason is language, because we have to think in Bengali and we have to do the research in English and we have to write the paper in English or some other languages. So this need to be figured out. And I feel this national education policy, the result, it's not like that within 2 days we will get a result. A national education policy is now coming up, and another 20 years we have to give them, and then only then we can see the results. Still the brain drainages are happening or not, still our people, our students, our kids are growing up in a situation of moral education or not. In the last we are seeing the dignity of a teacher is declining day by day, day by day. Why in our country the dignity of teachers is declining? Once upon a country where the teacher was the main force of a student's career, they never mind them students may not have listened their parents, but they always have listened the teacher. So what was the teacher periphery? What was the teacher ability? The teacher has never gossiped in common room about another teacher. But the situation has came where another teacher is talking against the another teacher in their common room. This is the common practice. So teacher is not respecting the other teacher. So why the society will respect to a teacher? So if society wants to respect a teacher should first respect other teacher. And that situation only will come when it is built with the moral education system, and which has been removed after many years. The moral education, Gita, Mahabharata, whatever the morality were part was there. It's everything was aggression, fight, kings and all, Mughal and all has been put up in our syllabus. So if moral education has been imparted properly, the morality of the students, morality of a teacher will increase, and the dignity of a teacher will increase, and the attachment of a student-teacher relationship will build a new education system which will give a proper education, where a mechanical engineer will be able to do the mechanics in the part, not on the table doing the research only, practically as well as and theoretically as well. Both the things were important. So those few things I wanted to highlight over here in a few minutes. I hope I am not in between your lunch and the lecture. Please, extremely sorry that I was late, and thank you to the organizer. Those have continuously kept in touch with me, and I could able to at least in the last moment join with you and say few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mahathur. You have delivered a valuable and more informative space for us. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, may I request Dr. Raghunandan Das, he is the convener of today's webinar, to carry on the today's webinar. Dr. Raghunandan Das.
Thank you. Thank you, Hariputra sir, for conducting the session. Very beautifully, we have conducted the session. I am very much thankful to our Aurobindo Mahato sir. Actually, in spite of having so many problems, he was boarding. Then I contacted with him. He told, yes, just after reaching the destination, I will join. And just after reaching his home, immediately he joined to our session. And very beautifully, right from the ancient time, from the moral education, what should be the rule of a teacher, what a teacher should behave with another teacher, what was the glorious history of our country, and what we should do, why we should not only follow that is blamely to the foreigners and others, what is the importance of the mother tongue in the higher education system, in the research system. Right from every nook and cranny, he navigated within a very short span of time. Actually, we are enriched through your discussion, sir. Really, really, we are thankful that you have spared your valuable time, and for that we are enlightened and hope in the coming days also we'll be inviting you. And what gratefully you have accepted our invitation. On the coming days also you will accept our invitation. Thank you, sir, for your impressive and very informative, valuable deliberation. Thank you, sir. And I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Onu Anup sir, professor in English, Department of English in Assam University. He also very nicely presented his deliberation. He also navigated in every nook and cranny. He tried to explain what is the rules, what way we to that is implement the our national education policy, what would be the effectiveness, and so many what are the challenges, little bit every sort of things was discussed in his deliberations. Actually, we are really grateful to him also. We are grateful to Pranab sir also. He also very beautifully explained what are the challenges, how we to improve our college in different wings. He has shown the path. We do follow most of the suggestions what he has made, and we are thankful to Rahul sir, though he was in problem in in his deliberation due to the technicality. Even though he tried his best to explain the there is rules, regulations, what are the implementations, what we to implement. For that, we are actually really, really thankful to Rahul sir also. We are thankful to each and every members of the organizing committee, all of them very well coordinated. That is in every respect they have coordinated, and we try to our best to give some idea or what way we to actually implement the or what are the rules of the higher education system. So I am thankful to every members of the organizing committee, uh, our college authority. I am thankful to everyone. Okay, not but the least, thanking all of you and hoping in the next also we will conduct such type of seminar, and that will help our that is learning community, our teaching community. Thanking you all for your active participation. I am really thankful to each and every that is participants. Most of them very actively participated. They have given a suggestion, they interacted. For that we are really, really thankful to all of them. So on behalf of entire organizing committee, I am thankful to each and everyone, whatever, what way they have that is cooperated us, they have helped us for making the event a great success. So thanking all of you, we are concluding with the permission of the president. I am concluding the session. Thank you all.